Let us look at David and Mark. They both make $80,000 a year. They live in the exact same suburban zip code. From the outside, their lives look like a mirror image. Both have a 3-bedroom house with a 2-car garage. Both park a mid-sized SUV in the driveway. Both have front lawns so perfectly green they look painted on. Both wave to each other while grabbing the mail on Saturday mornings. But that is where the similarities completely end. Because behind closed doors, David is bleeding cash. Mark, on the other hand, is quietly building an absolute fortress. Let me show you exactly what happens to the money that vanishes from your account. David bought into the ultimate American suburb package. His bank manager smiled, shook his hand, and approved a mortgage that stretched his budget to the absolute limit. The manager called it a smart investment, but the mortgage was just the entry ticket to a very expensive club. Then comes the Homeowners Association. The HOA charges David $300 every single month. What does he actually get for that money? A printed newsletter and a piece of paper telling him what exact shade of beige he is allowed to paint his own house. He also gets threatening letters if his grass grows half an inch over the mandated limit. So, out of fear of getting fined, David hires a professional landscaping crew. That costs him another $150 a month. Then we add the seasonal mulch installation, add the chemical fertilizer treatments, add the mandatory pressure washing for the driveway and the sidewalks. Suddenly, just keeping the outside of his house, acceptable to strangers, costs David $500 every single month. That is $6,000 a year, just to look like he fits into the neighborhood. Now, let me step into David's shoes for a minute. I wake up at 6 in the morning and I am already exhausted. I grab a $5 coffee from the drive-thru because I literally have no time to brew it at home. I sit in 45 minutes of brutal stop-and-go traffic on the interstate. I swipe my plastic badge at a corporate office for a job I barely tolerate. I sit in pointless budget meetings for hours, staring at the clock. And for what? To pay a guy in a truck to cut grass I never even walk on. I am literally trading my life energy for green blades of grass and the approval of a board of neighbors. Let us do the math on this right now. David takes home roughly $4,500 a month after taxes. Assuming a 40-hour work week, that breaks down to about $28 an hour of actual take-home pay. His $500 monthly neighborhood image cost? That equals nearly 18 hours of his life. Every single month, David spends over 2 full working days just to pay for his HOA and his lawn care. Over the course of a year, that is almost 30 working days. David works 1 entire month out of the year just to maintain the illusion of a perfect suburban yard. If that number punched you in the stomach, hit subscribe. Here, we do not talk about miracle investments or stock market gambling. We talk about stopping the fraud you commit against yourself every single day. Because that is exactly what this system is. You have been sold a massive lie. The lie says that a strict HOA protects your property value. The lie says that keeping up with the neighbors is proof that you are a responsible adult. But look closely at the mechanics of who gets paid. The HOA board is not your friend. The landscaping company is not doing you a favor. The marketing, agencies that run commercials showing happy families on perfectly manicured lawns, they are laughing all the way to the bank. They created a fake standard of success. Then they sold you the expensive, recurring services required to maintain it. This is what I call the neighborhood tax. It is a brilliant financial trap designed to extract your leftover cash. And it ties perfectly into the classic theory of why it is so expensive to be broke. We call it the poverty premium. David is stuck in a cash flow trap. When his cheap lawnmower breaks down because he bought the cheapest one on credit, he pays a premium to fix it. When he gets too tired to cook because of the commute, he orders a $30 delivery meal. He pays for convenience because the system drains all his time. Mark understood this game from day one. Mark bought a house 3 streets over, just outside the invisible boundary of the HOA. He does not pay $300 a month for a committee to judge his siding. He ripped out the thirsty grass and planted native shrubs that do not require constant watering or expensive chemical treatments. He mows his own small patch of grass in 20 minutes on a Sunday afternoon. Mark took that $500 a month and kept it for himself. He automatically routes it into a basic index fund every time he gets paid. Over 10 years, with average market returns, that money turns into nearly $100,000. David has an award-winning lawn and an empty checking account. Mark has $100,000 in liquid cash and actual peace of mind. Who is actually the wealthy one in this scenario? If you got mad at this calculation, leave your like. Anger is the very first step toward efficiency. You have to get angry at the money slipping out of your hands. You have to look at the fees your bank hides in your monthly statement and feel insulted. You have to question the premium you pay just to exist in a specific zip code. Because the entire consumer economy relies on your exhaustion. They know you are too tired after a 9-to-5 shift to read the fine print on a contract. They know you will just put the lawn care on autopilot to avoid a headache. They know you will swipe your credit card for the HOA special assessment to fix a community clubhouse you never even visit. They sell you convenience at a massive markup, but convenience is just a tax on the exhausted. You pay extra for things because you have zero time left, and you have zero time left because you have to work constantly to pay for the things. It is a perfect closed loop. You are funding the very treadmill that keeps you running in place. But you can choose to step off. You do not have to play by the rules invented by someone trying to empty your wallet. You do not need the approval of a neighborhood committee to validate your hard work. Today, I want you to do a simple but painful exercise. Pull up your bank statements from the last 3 months. Calculate exactly how much of your paycheck is left after paying the costs of simply going to work and maintaining your current lifestyle image. Add up the neighborhood fees. Add up the yard maintenance. Add up the drive-through coffees you bought purely because you were rushed and tired. The final number is going to terrify you. You will see exactly how many hours of your limited life you are giving away to strangers. If this video opened your eyes, send it to that coworker who always looks exhausted in the break room. Let us get out of this hamster wheel together. Write "I understand the game" in the comments to signal to the algorithm that you have woken up. It is Saturday morning. You worked 50 hours this week. You are physically drained and mentally empty. You just want to sit in your kitchen and drink your coffee in total peace. But at 7 in the morning, the noise starts. The deafening roar of a neighbor's leaf blower. The heavy hum of industrial lawnmowers echoing down the block. You look out your window at the perfect suburban street. Every single lawn is cut to the exact same height. Every driveway is spotless. Every mailbox matches perfectly. You bought the American dream. But right now, as you rub your tired eyes, it feels like a very expensive prison. Let me introduce you to David. David is 35 years old. He makes $120,000 a year. On paper, David is winning the game. He has a beautiful 4-bedroom house in a nice suburban subdivision. He has a 2-car garage filled with tools. But David is completely broke. His bank account hits 0 days before every single paycheck. He cannot figure out where the money is going. Let us look at the brutal math. David pays $300 a month to his Homeowners Association. That is $3,600 a year. He pays this just for the privilege of being told what color he can paint his front door. Then there is the yard maintenance. To keep up with the neighbors, David pays a landscaping company $150 a week. That is another $600 a month. $7,200 a year just for grass. Let us convert that into real life. David earns about $57 an hour before taxes. After taxes, health insurance, and retirement contributions, his take-home pay is closer to $40 an hour. To pay for his HOA and his perfect grass, David has to work 270 hours every single year. That is almost 7 full weeks of his life. He spends 7 weeks sitting in corporate meetings he absolutely hates, just to pay for grass he never actually walks on. If that number just gave you a punch to the gut, subscribe to the channel. Here, we do not talk about miracle investments or overnight wealth. We talk about stopping the fraud you are committing against yourself. They sold you a very specific, carefully crafted lie. They told you that buying this house in the suburbs was your ticket to building wealth. Your friendly bank manager smiled and handed you a mortgage you could barely afford. The The real estate agent talked endlessly about the great schools and the quiet streets, but they conveniently left out the fine print. They did not tell you about the pristine lawn tax. You did not buy a home. You actually bought a second job as an unpaid property manager. Think about your average weekend. You are out there fixing a broken sprinkler system in the hot sun. You are buying bags of heavy mulch at the big box hardware store. You are power washing a driveway that is just going to get dirty again next month. You are bleeding time, energy, and money to maintain an illusion of wealth. If you are getting angry at this math right now, leave a like. Anger is the first step toward efficiency. This brings us to the neighborhood hostage rule. It is the unspoken, suffocating pressure to match the spending of the people living next door. When the neighbor gets a new roof, you suddenly notice yours looks a little old. When the neighbor hires a professional pool cleaning service, you feel poor doing it yourself. It is a psychological marketing trap designed specifically to keep your bank account empty. And the villains here are not just the big Wall Street banks. It is the silent inflation of property taxes. It is the local plumbing contractor who quotes you double because he sees you live in a wealthy zip code. It is the HOA board that sends you a passive-aggressive warning letter because your trash can was left out for 2 extra hours. Think about the guy running your HOA board. His name is probably Richard. He is retired and has absolutely nothing better to do with his time. He walks around the neighborhood with a clipboard and a measuring tape. He measures the height of your weeds. He notes the exact shade of beige on your vinyl siding. If it does not match the approved corporate color palette, you get a financial penalty. You are a grown adult. You work a demanding professional job. And yet, you are treated like a disobedient child in the very place you call your sanctuary. You signed a piece of paper that gives a group of bored strangers the power to put a lien on your house if you do not pay for their pet projects. We call this the illusion of ownership. You think you own the dirt, but the county taxes the dirt. The bank holds the note on the dirt. The HOA dictates the rules of the dirt. You are literally just paying for the privilege of sleeping there between shifts. I know exactly how this feels. I sit in that same brutal traffic on the interstate. I feel the exact same exhaustion in my bones when I pull into the driveway at 6 in the evening. The absolute last thing I want to do is pull weeds out of a flower bed. But I do it because the rules of the neighborhood say I have to. This is where the poverty premium kicks in, but in a completely inverted way. Normally, the poverty premium means poor people pay more for basic goods. But in the suburbs, you pay a wealth premium. You are paying a massive premium just to look like you are not struggling. You finance the $5,000 ride-on mower. You put the emergency HVAC repair on a credit card at 22% interest. You are trapped in a high-interest debt cycle just to keep up appearances for neighbors whose names you barely know. David thought his house was his biggest asset, but a real asset puts cash into your pocket every month. David's house pulls cash out of his pocket every single day. It is a massive emotional liability disguised as a financial milestone. And look at the physical layout of your neighborhood. You have to drive 15 minutes just to buy a gallon of milk. You are completely 100% dependent on your car. This isolation creates the convenience tax. Because you are so tired from the commute and the endless house maintenance, you buy convenience at a premium. You order food delivery on a Tuesday because you are simply too exhausted to cook in your expensive granite countertop kitchen. You pay an extra fee for someone else to do your grocery shopping. You buy the $7 coffee at the drive-thru because you desperately need a tiny hit of dopamine to survive the morning traffic. The system is perfectly designed to drain every single dollar of your excess capital. Wall Street absolutely loves the suburbs. They love that you are tying up all your liquid cash in drywall and shingles, because while you are stressing over crabgrass, they are buying up real income-producing assets. Let us talk about the home improvement trap. You walk into the hardware store on a Sunday morning. You only needed a $10 pack of LED light bulbs, but you make the mistake of walking past the garden center. You see the beautiful patio furniture sets. You see the modern stone fire pits. You convince yourself that if you just buy the fire pit, you will finally relax. You tell yourself you will invite friends over and have those perfect summer evenings you see in the television commercials. So you swipe your card and spend $800 on patio furniture. You set it up perfectly in the backyard, and you never use it, because by the time you finish your commute, make dinner, get the kids to bed, and answer late-night emails from your boss, you are completely dead inside. The fire pit just sits there, gathering dust and rust. It becomes a heavy monument to the free time you do not actually have. They sell you products for the lifestyle you wish you had, knowing full well your job prevents you from ever living it. And then the county reassesses your home value. Your house went up in value on paper. You feel a quick, stupid rush of pride. You tell your coworkers that your equity is growing. But what does that actually mean for your daily cash flow? Your property tax bill goes up by another $1,000 a year. Your home insurance premiums skyrocket because replacement costs went up. You are being punished financially because the imaginary value of your house increased. You cannot spend home equity at the grocery store. You cannot buy gas with unrealized capital gains. But you absolutely have to pay those increased taxes in cold, hard cash. This is the silent, continuous bleeding of the modern middle class. You earn more money than your parents ever did, but you feel significantly poorer than they were. Because the structural, unavoidable costs of living in these approved zip codes have completely detached from reality. It is time to break this cycle. Today, I want you to do an extremely uncomfortable exercise. Sit down at your kitchen table tonight. Pull up your bank statements from the last 12 months. Add up every single dollar you spent on your Homeowners Association. Add up the lawn care, the pest control, the random neighborhood special assessments. Add up the extra gas money you spent living so far away from everything. Take that massive total number. Now divide it by your true hourly wage after taxes. Look closely at the number of hours you gave away. Look at how much of your actual, unrecoverable life you sacrificed just to maintain a postcard image. The final result is going to terrify you. If this video opened your eyes, send it to that coworker who spends his entire lunch break complaining about his house. Let us get out of this hamster wheel together. Right? I understand the game. In the comments to signal to the algorithm that you have, woken up. You think you bought a house, but you really just bought a part-time job you cannot quit. Imagine this scenario, because I guarantee it has happened to you. It is Saturday morning, and you are exhausted from a 50-hour week in a gray cubicle. You just want to sit on your couch, stare at the wall, and drink a cheap cup of coffee in peace. But outside your window, the symphony of mandatory maintenance begins. You hear the roar of commercial lawnmowers, the high-pitched whine of weed whackers, and the leaf blowers pushing dirt from one driveway to another. You look through the blinds and see the Homeowners Association president driving by in a golf cart. She is holding a clipboard, actively looking for infractions. Suddenly, your own home does not feel like a sanctuary anymore. It feels like an inspection zone, and you are just the unpaid janitor. You are supposed to be the architect of your finances, not a gear in a local compliance machine. Let us talk about David. David is a project manager making $95,000 a year. He thought he finally made it when he bought a 4-bedroom house in a gated community in the suburbs. But David is bleeding cash, and he does not even realize it. His Homeowners Association charges him $350 every single month. That is $4,200 a year, just for the privilege of living under their rules. Over a 30-year mortgage, David will pay $126,000 in base fees alone. And that massive number does not even include the random special assessments when the neighborhood pool needs a new pump. But the bleeding does not stop at the official monthly fee. David pays another $150 a month to a landscaping crew because the neighborhood strictly prohibits grass taller than 3 inches. He spends another $80 a month on mandatory pest control just to keep the exterior looking pristine for people driving by. When his mailbox got dinged by a delivery truck, he could not just buy a $30 replacement at the hardware store. The neighborhood code required a custom iron mailbox from an approved vendor that cost $400. This is what I call the suburban conformity fraud. You are bleeding your Hard-earned cash to maintain a synthetic environment for neighbors you do not even talk to. Let us do the shock math on David's life. After taxes and health insurance, David brings home about $35 an hour. To pay for his neighborhood fees, the lawn guy, and the random compliance costs, David spends about $7,000 a year. Let us convert that cash back into hours of his actual life. David has to work 200 solid hours every single year just to pay his neighborhood taxes. That is 5 entire weeks of his life, sitting in rush hour traffic, dealing with a boss he hates just to keep a clipboard-carrying neighbor happy. For 5 whole weeks every year, David is a slave to a patch of grass and a stupid iron mailbox. If that number just gave you a punch in the gut, subscribe. Here we do not talk about miracle investments. We talk about stopping the fraud you commit against yourself. Your real estate agent sold you a massive, expensive illusion. They looked you right in the eye and said an association protects your property value. That is the biggest lie the modern housing market ever invented. It does not protect your wealth. It systematically extracts your liquidity. It forces you into a premium tier of existence where you have to buy expensive solutions for fake problems. This is the exact opposite of being an architect. An architect looks at a blueprint, calculates the load-bearing walls, and designs something built to last on their own terms. A gear just turns blindly because the machine tells it to turn. When you get a warning letter about a dead shrub and immediately panic buy a $300 replacement, you are just a turning gear. Look at Christine, a corporate human resources director who lives 3 streets over from David. Christine got a $2,000 bonus at work and felt amazing about her career for exactly 1 day. She wanted to put it in an index fund and actually build her net worth for the future. But her driveway had a tiny oil stain, and the neighborhood association sent her a formal notice of violation. She had to hire a specialized pressure washing company for $400. Then they told her the paint on her front door was no longer on the approved color palette for the current decade. She spent the rest of her bonus hiring a painter to change her door from dark red to a slightly different shade of dark red. Christine traded 60 hours of corporate stress for a clean driveway and a door color she does not even care about. If you are angry at this calculation right now, leave your like. Anger is the first step to financial efficiency. You need to open your eyes and see the entire ecosystem built around your compliance. Think about the service trucks circling your neighborhood right now. The roofers, the painters, the tree trimmers, the pool cleaners. They all know you are trapped by the rules of your own zip code. They charge you the neighborhood premium, artificially raising their prices just because they saw the brick pillars at the entrance of your subdivision. You are paying a luxury tax on basic maintenance just to avoid a $50 fine. And we have not even talked about the daily commute. To afford this pristine, heavily regulated suburban life, you probably moved 40 minutes away from your actual job. You bought a $50,000 sport utility vehicle just to handle the highway miles and look the part in the school pickup line. You are burning $400 a month in gas alone. You are losing 10 hours a week staring at the red taillights in front of you on the interstate. All to drive back to a house where you cannot even park that vehicle on your own lawn if you wanted to. The bank gave you a mortgage based on your gross salary, but they never calculated the psychological toll of keeping up appearances. They did not calculate the cost of the neighborhood holiday light, competition that forces you to buy hundreds of dollars in plastic junk. They did not care about the passive-aggressive online group where residents complain about someone leaving a trash can out for an extra hour. The system is designed to keep you exhausted, compliant, and cash poor. A tired person does not question the rules. A tired person just sets the monthly fee to autopay and goes to sleep. A tired person does not audit their life. But you are not going to be that tired person anymore. You are going to take back the drafting table today. You have to stop viewing your primary residence as an untouchable sacred temple. It is a shelter, a piece of utility, and right now, it is operating at a massive financial loss. Every dollar you spend on decorative mulch is a dollar that could be buying your early retirement. Every hour you spend edging your lawn to mathematical perfection is an hour you could be spending building a side business, the neighborhood compliance machine. demands your time, your cash, and your peace of mind. It wants you focused on the weeds in your flower bed so you do not focus on the gaping holes in your investment accounts. It is time to fire the manager inside your head that cares what the neighbors think. Your neighbors are probably drowning in credit card debt just to maintain the exact same illusion. They are financing their patio furniture at 25% interest just to look successful at the weekend barbecue. Do not let their fake wealth dictate your actual budget. You are the architect. You draw the lines. You decide what gets built and what gets demolished. If a rule does not serve your bottom line, question its authority over your life. Cut the invisible expenses that only exist for social survival. Stop funding the conformity machine. Write, "I am the architect," to signal that you took control.